Welcome to Maker's Journey Workshop. I'm Benjamin Davies, and today we're making square corners. Square corners can be quite intimidating at first. They're a little frustrating. They take a little bit of time, just like our pipe forging video if you've seen it. Patience is going to be your friend with this project. Take your time, don't get discouraged. Know that you're going to make 2 or 3 wonky and just keep going. The first few that I've ever made, they didn't turn out so pretty. Sometimes I'd thin the metal on one edge and then it would be thicker on the other edge. So just have some patience. A torch is going to be your friend on this because it helps you to isolate your heat. You can also use a propane forge, coal forge, induction forge. Just make sure you're quenching around where you want your heat localized, and that way you can focus all your energy from your hammer strikes to that area. All right, let's get at it.
10 plus 6.
Just a saw. Calm down, buddy. One. Give him a good side. Dose. Something I love about cutting freehand is just the mobility of it. So instead of hooking this piece up in the vise twice, I put it in there once since it was long enough, and now I've got a good piece in the middle that I'll use for something else, I'm sure. Also, as quick as you can, if you think it works best for you, get untethered. The more untethered you can be, the better. Just less cords and things in the shop. I like it, it works for me. So I feel pretty comfortable holding this guy one-handed and cutting. Works pretty well for me. It is kind of heavy, it is a little strenuous, but one good thing about it is if you're worried about your piece dropping, whenever you come in from this angle, as long as you have a piece choked up in the vise right here, so this part is going to catch on it. Probably not great for the tool over a long amount of time, but if it's just a little soft drop, so like this one right here, well, that's a risky shot. Little soft drop because I was letting the weight of the saw do the work, and I kind of felt it when it finally punched through. I tried to put some tension on it, and I just bounced it off the bar. Not hurting it. Good way for me to use my saw. That's what works for me. And I even think it's metal right there, so it's kind of, it's meant with that intention. It knows it's going to get some abuse. Okay, so for that part, it's kind of like laying out a road map. Those ones that we did all on this right here. So those are going to be our screw holes, and we're just marking those out for later down the line so we know about and we can go back and screw them. We're actually just going to do screw holes right here. But we did a center punch right here on one side and on the other side. And that's going to be our road map. So that's all we're doing is we're laying out a road map. And I made these center punches just a little bit heavier. And that way, as we go through several heats, hopefully it doesn't scale away. So we'll have a 6-inch side and then we'll have a 10-inch side. I'm going to use the 10-inch side as my handle, and I'm going to do most of the hammering on the 6-inch side. That way it gives me a longer grip, and I'm losing less of my hammer blow as it travels through 6 inches of material as opposed to 10 inches of material. Another thing is I've got my bucket set up right here, and I've got my torch set up right here. This is something that's really important to think about when you're forging, when you're trying to be efficient. You want to make sure that you've got a close, tight space that minimizes the footsteps you're taking, and it needs to be safe also. I can say with 100% confidence, this is the only tool that I've never dropped in my shop, ever. I've had this tool for 10 years. This is called a fuel saver. It's basically a little pilot light, and I've got my torch regulator where I want it, and every time I just go. When I'm done, I make sure I hang it up. I'm always hyper vigilant about that because I can always come back and heat. But if I drop that and it glances towards my foot or something, that's pretty dangerous. One. All right, something really important to remember when you're starting this corner off is don't close it up to a full 90 from the get-go. You want to leave a good 15 to 20 degrees open before you start closing that corner up, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to upset material to that corner. And as you're upsetting, if you've already closed it off at 90, that material doesn't have the space it needs to go, and so it'll start creating a crack right here where I'm pointing with my thumb in the corner, which creates a cold shut and a crack and just problems, and it's not structurally integral. So I know you can't see where I'm striking the metal right here in this scene. We're going to get to that later in the video, and that way you can see. But I'm coming from the top. It's right here. Let me give you an example. Hold on. Yep, so we're just attacking the metal that way. Have to attack it from all angles, and what you're going to want to pay close attention to is that center punch that we just made that. That's your road map. If that center punch, if this is your corner and that center punch starts to travel side or too far down that side, it lets you know you need to back around and start backing that center punch back down and pushing it the other way. It's a good way to keep an eye on your corner to make sure it doesn't get out of line. And if you start out, say you have to make half a dozen of these square corners, that way they all turn out the same if you start with the correct measurement. All right, let's go. If yours didn't turn out like this, know that my first 10, 20 didn't either. Don't get discouraged. Take your time and continue with it. It's another one of those things you have to have a lot of patience with. If you've done 100, they'll go a lot quicker. I hadn't done these in a while, and making this video, it actually took a lot longer than I remembered. Have some patience. It's okay. So we got our square corners done, but now it just looks like an L. It doesn't really have a whole lot of character to it. And it's always going to be a really simple bracket anyways, but let's jazz it up a little bit. So here's something that I've discovered, especially on square and flat bar, that I like to do is I'll come through and I'll chamfer the corners cold, like you'll see right here. I do that for two reasons. One, I think it looks better. And the second reason I do it cold is because when you get hot again, I tend to grow the metal and it starts to get wonky. So you can do this cold, take your time and do overlapping hammer blows and just walk your hammer slowly down each side and it'll look like it's just one flat, smooth chamfer. But it's still a little boring. So let's add a little bit more character to it and spice up these square corners just a little bit. So we're gonna do a little upset. Again, you can use any form of heat for this. I like to go to the torch. It's pretty handy. And so you'll notice I'll localize my heat to one side. That's because I want to do a tapered upset, which means that upset's going to glance off to one side more so than the other. And I think that's going to look aesthetically pleasing for our shelf. Turned out pretty nice, didn't it? Yeah. Don't lie. You like it. All right. Last thing, all those little center punches we made at the beginning, all we got to do is go through and drill our holes. You can probably punch these and drift these. I wanted something quick, dirty, but still look pretty good. So we're going with some drill holes and a little bit of countersink. And voila, you got square corners. They're pretty fun. There's so many applications for square corners that you can put in your work, and they really beef the structural integrity up a lot. So learn how to forge these and definitely put them in your tool belt arsenal. That'll be a good one to have. Hey, thank y'all so much for watching today. If you've enjoyed this show so far, there's just only one thing I can really think to ask of you. Smash that subscribe button. Really enjoy making these videos. I hope y'all are too. Get out there, get to making, make some mistakes, make a lot of them, and you'll get where you want to be faster. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great one. Smash that subscribe button. See y'all. You know what's better than a cup of coffee? I mean, really, if you think about it, 2 cups of coffee. That one's a little cool. That one's a little hot. Hey, thank y'all for watching. Get out of here.